Bucher. Good evening, veterans and those who have served our veterans. I really am honored to be here tonight for several reasons. One, the General Smoker Award. General Smoker was a friend, a mentor of mine, attended my promotion to Brigadier General, and was part of one of the more proud folks sitting in the audience of a lot of other folks, and I miss him dearly. So it's nice that we have this award named after General Smoker. And secondly, I love coming and talking about veterans. This is great. I've had this job for about 16 months, and I tell everyone, next to my position as Commander in Kosovo, this is by far the best job I've had in my entire career, because I like being out there and doing what we're doing. First thing that I always tell people, though, is I'm not the federal guy. All right? I don't handle federal issues. I handle the state issues. My job is to act as the intermediary between the veteran and the federal side, so that we make sure that the veteran gets and receives all the benefits that he or she deservedly should be receiving. So we work on that side of it to get the benefits for them. So I'm going to talk to you this evening. I've got about an hour and 45 minutes, so I hope everybody's comfortable. Talk about the veterans' benefits for Pennsylvania. But before I do that, let me say to all the veterans here, thank you. Thank you very much, all of you, for your service to our great nation. You know, we wouldn't be here where we are today without the service of veterans, a very small portion of our population who support the great Constitution that we have. And I also want to thank Skyline Marketing for their support and for what they've done for our veterans. And it's an honor, sir, for me to be here tonight. And I understand you had some surgery today and you're here tonight, so there you go. Nice job, thank you. I appreciate that too. So, let me show you some things about veterans. Pennsylvania is the 4th largest state of veterans. We have roughly, that's at 953, we think it's close to 975,000 veterans in the Commonwealth, just behind California, Texas, and Florida. But this is the interesting part. Only 6% of those veterans are youngsters. Most of our veterans are 60 years old and older, as you can see from the chart. This is how we're spread across the Commonwealth. Pretty much, you can see there in Lebanon County, about 11,390. But the biggest concentration of veterans, believe it or not, is Allegheny County, Pittsburgh. They have more veterans than the city of Philadelphia does, which many people, and myself included, were surprised by that. We have a lot of programs that we spread across the Commonwealth for all of these counties. Every county has a county director who is the point of contact for any veterans issues in each county, 67 of them. And this is how our projected veteran population is looking as we go through the years, where Pennsylvania by 2020 will be about the 8th largest. And then as you see, we get down to 2040, we're about half of where we are today. And that's because of the age of our veterans and where we're headed. I'll talk to you about some of the programs that we have. First off, we have 120 veterans that are part of our Blind Veterans Program. Now remember, these benefits that I'm going to talk to you are Commonwealth specific for folks that live in the Commonwealth. They get other benefits from the federal VA as well, but these are extra benefits that are provided by the legislature for our veterans of the Commonwealth. So we start off with a blind veterans pension. About 120 veterans get that as a result of a service-connected disability with their vision. They get $150 a month, and that costs us $222,000 a year to support that. Our paralyzed veterans, this is a result of 2 limbs, paralyzation in 2 limbs. You get 1,447 veterans that are involved in that program, and that costs about $2.1 million. That's going up. It's probably going to be closer to $3 million this year because the numbers are increasing in that particular category. Disabled veterans, we provide to the disabled veterans $336,000 a year, and that basically pays for their vehicles for the transportation. It doesn't pay for the drivers, but it gives them the vehicles that they need to transport our disabled veterans across the Commonwealth. The Honor Guard detail. This detail is usually made up of the veteran service organizations, the Allegiant, the VFW, the AMVETS, and so forth, where they go out every day and do our funeral honors at the national cemeteries, the 3 national cemeteries here in the state. We pay $150, which isn't a whole lot of money when you consider what they do. Usually seven individuals that spend almost the whole day at the cemetery going through funerals, because there's that many funerals going on each and every day in our cemeteries. So they get $150 that support them. And that's paid through our War Veterans Council, which is a council made up of the veteran services organizations, that when you perform those duties, usually like the VFW will take a team, so when they complete that day, they submit for it. The VFW receives $150 depending on what post they're in and so forth. All of the veteran service organizations that participate will get that $150. And as I said, that's not a lot of money. And it's really become an issue for us, even with only 3 national cemeteries. We're running out of volunteers and the people that we need to perform those funeral honors. By DOD regulation, you require 2 people to conduct a military funeral. And you can imagine how hard that is with only 2 people. That's all that they'll support. And one of those people have to be from the service from which the deceased is from. So trying to have 2 people conduct a military funeral is not easy, and it's really important our veteran service organizations support that, and they do the best they can. But as you saw with our aging population, it's harder and harder to get people out. And those that are younger are usually working, so they can't get the time to come out and do the service. Right now, my Disabled Veterans Real Estate Tax Exemption Program is my toughest program. This program provides real estate tax exemptions to 100% disabled veterans who make less than $85,000 a year. I've had one person work in that program, and it's put me, I was about 18 months behind about 3 months ago. Part of that getting behind was a result of the benefits section of the VA when they closed down for sequestration, because I processed the paperwork and I have to send it to the VA, and when they were closed, that sat down there and piled up. And I lost about 6 months there, but I was already a year behind before that happened. So now we've revamped some things, changed some of the people around. I'm forcing my supervisors now to review this and be a part of this, to do the exemptions, taking that on as part of their duties. And by the end of this year, I'll be caught up with 2013. By March, I should be halfway through 14, and our plan is, in fact, it's the plan I gave the legislature, so my plan is by June, that will be at the 120-day limit, which is what we plan, 90 to 120 days to process these. So we're going to get caught up. It's kind of like we're learning like the VA did, you know, how to get caught up on things and work with the few people that you have. So 7,800 veterans in there, and that grows every day. And the problem that we have with that is it's not only new people applying for it, but every 5 years you've got to reapply because your income may change, and so that's all got to be reviewed. So that's what causes the backflow, because you're not only getting new applications, but you're getting the renewals coming in at the same time. This is an important program, the Persian Gulf veterans. Anybody here that served in the Persian Gulf, in the first Persian Gulf War, 1990-91, there is a bonus of $75 a month, up to $525 for every month that you served in the Persian Gulf. If you haven't applied for that by August of this coming year of 15, it goes away. So we're out pushing now. We've got about 8,000 participants. We think there are about 22,000 veterans in Pennsylvania that participated in the Persian Gulf War. And we're out hunting for them. Every time we have an outreach, we look for Persian Gulf veterans. I run into people where, you know, the hats are kind of nice to have, because you see somebody at Persian Gulf veteran hat. You can walk up to them and say, "Did you get your bonus?" And usually you get a blank stare. And go see these guys, because I usually have a veteran service rep wherever we are, and they'll help you get your bonus. You see, we put out about $3.5 million on this program, and we're about 25% of the veterans that should be receiving it. The Military Family Relief Assistance Program is an award, not a really award, it's a program that gives money to military families that suddenly or unexpectedly lose income. Maybe they got laid off, maybe they even got fired, something happened, health-wise they couldn't work. If they have a problem that happens within 3 years of completion of an active duty tour, or they're medically discharged, they can wait 4 years from that discharge. They can apply for and receive up to $3,500 in support for them to try to help them through the hard times. So far, in 13-14, we awarded $164,000. Now this money for this program comes through the income tax returns. There's a checkbox on the income tax returns where people can donate to the Military Family Relief Program. And so all of that money comes from there. In 2000, this has been going on since 2002. In 2005, we peaked out at about $1.2 million to $1.3 million in donations. It's been going down ever since. Last year we were a little less than $500,000 coming into that account. But we're still in good shape. We still were able to, over the 5-6 years, put money into it. And if we're awarding roughly $175,000 a year, we still got a lot of years left that we can support the military family programs. And I'm sure if we start getting into difficulty, we'll come up with a different idea. Another program, a little different than the military family relief, is emergency assistance. And this is, again, temporary assistance. That VTA stands for Veterans Temporary Assistance. And here, you can get $1,600 total for the year. You get it all at once, or you have spread out if you've got some issues that came up. All you have to do is demonstrate loss of income or an increase in expenses that you haven't been able to keep up with. You're a resident of the Commonwealth, and you're honorably discharged. That's the only requirements for this assistance. So if you know a veteran out there that's struggling because they lost their job or they've got some financial problems that they've run into, this is the program for them, at least to help them a little bit. They can get up to $1,600. This is funded through the Veterans Trust Fund, which I'll talk to you about here shortly. Again, not funded by the Commonwealth, funded by donations. The Act 66 program supports all of our veteran service organizations, the American Legion, VFW, AMVETS, Military Order, Purple Heart, and so forth, disabled vets. And this is the program that the legislature gives us $2.3 million that we distribute to all of those organizations to pay for their veteran service officers. Those are the folks that go out across the Commonwealth and work to get the veterans benefits and get them signed up for those benefits. The 2.3 gets divvied up mostly between the American Legion and VFW, quite frankly. They're the largest organizations, and they have the most VSOs that we support. We are required by law to accredit all of our county directors of Veterans Affairs. It's a new law that came out just this past year, as a matter of fact, but it's what we needed. So now we accredit all county directors of Veterans Affairs, and they assist in providing VSOs also for this program. What this has done to us, in 2013, we got $143 million in benefits, not to the Commonwealth, but to our veterans. That was money that went back to the veterans. In 2014, we increased that to $150 million, and this year we think we're going to get close to $165 million in benefits to our veterans. Out of the 975,000 odd veterans that we have in the state, we only think we're reaching about 25% of them. And that's why the outreach that we have, trying to get out into all the communities to get those veterans that aren't getting the benefits that they've earned, we're really working hard at. And you'll see a little bit about that in a second. I spoke to you about the Veterans Trust Fund. You have a pamphlet on your table that talks about the Veterans Trust Fund. The Veterans Trust Fund is what we use for that assistance to veterans. It's also a program that we use to give grants for outreach, for respite care, and for women's issues. Women's symposium was one of the issues that we had in the past year. $350,000 goes out to the first category, outreach, women's symposium and respite. Last year we had $960,000 in requests for grants, and so we had to choose to get the $350,000. And then we have $100,000 that goes out to the county directors for any programs that they may have within their counties that support veterans, one of them being veterans courts. And if you're not familiar with veterans courts are the courts that we have established that are like the treatment courts for drug and alcohol, that if you commit a crime, you can go to a veteran court judge in the county. There are 18 of them across the Commonwealth. We are the largest. We have the best. People come to us and ask us how the veteran court works. You go before a judge. The judge tells you in 18 months what you have to do. Every week you have to go back to the judge. You go back and report every week and tell them what you're doing. They put you on, you have to do service to the community. You have to go through treatment. If it's alcohol or drug-related crime that you committed, you have to go through treatment. And all of that has to happen within 18 months. If at any time during that 18 months you violate any of that, you go to jail. But it keeps you out of jail if you do it. And it's a great opportunity, and part of this fund supports some of the money we need there. And this, we get no funding from the legislature. We get all of our money from donations when you renew your driver's license and when you renew your vehicle registration. There's a checkbox on both of those applications that says, I want to donate $3 to the Veterans Trust Fund. We started this program in November of last year, and March of last year, and we've completed this year with a $1.3 million. We still have about 4 months to go to get through the annual run of the fund. So 1.3 million since March. We're shocked. We expected somewhere around 350,000 for the year. So the money it's great. We got a lot of people out there supporting our veterans, and they're doing it through those registrations. The driver's license program, we have the Honoring Our Veterans license plate. This is for anybody. You don't have to be a veteran to purchase that license plate. We've sold 1,923 of them, and $28,000 again goes to the Veterans Trust Fund. Now on the driver's license, this came about in November of this year. You can get, and you can see down there in the corner here, there's a flag, and underneath that flag it says veteran. You can have that placed on your driver's license as a veteran. When you put in for your driver's license renewal, there's a place to check on there that says I am a veteran. And then when they process your driver's license, there's no cost. That gets put on your driver's license. 76,000 people have applied for that since the 1st of March. I think that started this year too. 1st of March, 76,000 people have applied for it. We in my office have to validate that you're a veteran, because when you apply for that, you don't have to put a 214 with it. You just say, I'm a veteran. So then we have to validate it. So we validate about 10% of them. And if we can't prove that you're a veteran, we send a letter to the veteran or to this individual and tell them, we can't prove you're a veteran, you need to prove to us that you're a veteran, or your license will be revoked. Of course, we get a lot of nasty letters back. People upset, you know, how dare you accuse me of not being a veteran? And I get a lot of those. But the bottom line is, when you send back a letter like that, if you don't include a 214 to prove you're a veteran, you're losing your license. So you can be as mad as you want and call me all kinds of names you want. You're not going to have a license if you don't prove to me that you're a veteran. And that's what happens. We go back. If they don't, in 45 days, send me back proof, it goes to back down to PennDOT. PennDOT gives them another 30 days. And then if they don't provide their DD-214, their license gets revoked, and they have to go back and get a new license. Now, there's no penalty for that, other than you got to pay a new fee for your license, and you get a new license that doesn't have a flag on it. But right now, the legislature is working on the Stolen Valor Act for this, so that if you do this and you're not a veteran, you'll go to jail. So that's being worked, and it's got a pretty good chance of being passed. The issue I have with this program is I had to pay for it. For me to get that flag on your driver's license, it cost me $966,000 to PennDOT. I had to pay PennDOT to get this. So now I pay $194,000 a year until that's paid off out of my Veterans Trust Fund. So, this is what I was talking about with outreach. We have 2 of these vans that go out. They have internet capability so that we can get our veterans signed up on the spot. They go in, the computers are there, we can fill out for their benefits and get it sent through right away. These go out to anything that people are doing that they think veterans are going to be attending. So anybody here wants one, you go to our website, there's a calendar, you can see whether it's available, and if it's available, you can request it to come to your location. We go out to a lot of the representatives and senators' offices when they're doing events. We go to county fairs, we go to any place we think we're going to be able to track down veterans. The rural areas are where these are really helpful to us, because then we can get out to some of the smaller things and pick up on some of our rural veterans. I also am responsible for 6 state veterans homes. You know, the federal VA has the 3 kind of wings. They have a benefits wing, they have a health administration wing, and they have the cemetery wing. I got all 3 of them in my office, so you know, Bob gets to worry about the hospital. I got to worry about all 3 of these things, although I don't have as many patients as he does, or as many employees. 6 homes. I get $82 million from the legislature to support it, and a little bit over $100 million from the federal government. That's for per diem the VA pays because I'm taking care of veterans. So about $182 million it cost me for our 6 homes. 1,554 beds, Right now, we're about 94% full. The home in, you see here, these are 6 homes. Hollidaysburg is our very large, it's our largest home, over 500 beds at Hollidaysburg. You know, people ask about waiting lists and how the lists are. There are waiting lists, depending on what you need. Dementia, I'm full everywhere. And dementia waiting lists, you're probably talking about 6 months at least in some of the homes, and some it's longer than that. Domestic, for personal care, I've got some openings, always have openings in Hollidaysburg because it's bigger. I have a home in Erie, and this home goes back to the Civil War. One of the first soldiers and sailors home, it's called. One of the first homes after the Civil War that took care of our Civil War veterans. This one's in Philadelphia. Southwest is in Spring City, Royersford area. Pittsburgh is this one, and then this one is in Scranton. Again, all of them are full with the exception of Hollidaysburg. You see there's a pamphlet also I gave you for those. This is the best kept secret in the Commonwealth because you can stay in this home based on your income, not your assets. It's based upon your income as to how much you pay a month to stay in the home. So a lot of folks that may have homes, you don't have to sell your home to come into the home. You don't have to sell your property to come into the home. Your income is what determines what you pay. It's also the 3 different levels of care that I have is personal care, which are people that don't need any kind of nursing assistance, really don't have any place to live, or may need minimal nursing care. Skilled nursing for those that do need a lot more care, and then of course the dementia and Alzheimer's units. Every one of the hospitals or the nursing homes have dementia and Alzheimer's units. Another thing that's unique about Pennsylvania is we allow spouses to go into our veterans homes, which in most states that is not possible. Up to 15% of our population can be spouses. So, you know, in some cases, the veteran may have passed on and the spouse is still trying to survive on their own or his own. This gives them an opportunity to come to a home as a veteran and stay in the home. So that's the uniqueness of that. And this is the last thing I want to talk to you about. You have in your hands also the Governor Advisory Council pamphlet. This was a new initiative the governor put forth on Veterans Day of last year. He signed an executive order appointing me as the chairman of the Governor's Advisory Council of Veteran Services. And we saw this necessary because there were so many programs going on across the state that we didn't know what was happening. I didn't know what DPW was doing. I didn't know what L&I was doing. I didn't know what's the Department of Health doing. And they all had programs for veterans. And we decided we needed to get our arms around all of these and make sure that we were putting our money where we needed it to be and putting together the right programs. So the governor put together this advisory council that consists of these department heads, their secretary or an undersecretary that comes to these meetings, and this advisory council works to get all of those veteran services together so that we can make sure we're getting our bang for our buck. We do a lot of things. Right now, the Veterans Court is really big out of this because we're using probation and parole and Department of Corrections along with us to work the Veterans Court. We're trying to work on how do we get veterans that are in prison back out into the community when they come out so that when they're released from prison, they have a job, they have a place to live, and those kinds of things. So this is part of what this organization is doing. Department of Public Welfare, behavioral health, working through suicide prevention, working through training for peer training, behavioral health training, PTSD and TBI, all of that is being worked with the Department of Public Welfare and Department of Health. So this has come to be an interesting and important committee that we now have, and again, you can read more about that in the pamphlet. And I think that's it. Yes. Do I have any questions? Yes, ma'am.
The Veterans Courts, I know we don't have one in Lebanon County, but if a Lebanon County veteran would like to take the case before a Veterans Court, can they go to another county and do that?
No. No. And we're working on Lebanon County. The way the Veterans Court get decided is it's the president judge that's got to make the decision if they want to do a Veterans Court. So we're working now. I have a meeting, in fact, next week. Supreme Court Justice Seamus McCaffrey is a big supporter of Veterans Court. And I have a meeting scheduled with him next week. So we're talking about how do we expand this and how can we get Lebanon County is one of the counties on our list to get them to take a Veterans Court.
Good. And have we sold Scotland School yet?
Scotland School has been, yes, it's sold, yes ma'am, it sold about 2 years ago now. Yeah, so yeah, we've got that, it's going.
Who bought that?
It was an organization, a religious organization. They were going to use it for their schooling, Christian academy of some type that they were planning to use, and they allowed us to keep the Scotland School alumni organization, have a building, so they have a library and a presentation area for their alumni event. So they're very cooperative with us. But yeah, they did buy it. That's how we got started with the Veterans Trust Fund. When we sold Scotland, if you're familiar with Scotland School for Veterans Children, was down in Scotland, PA. And when we sold that, $1 million of that sale went to start the Veterans Trust Fund. That's how it got started. Anything else? I cut it short. I didn't go the hour and 40 minutes. Well, thank you all very much for your attention. And again, thank you for what you do on behalf of all of our veterans across the Commonwealth.